Okay, so quick chat. Yesterday I was going to watch, I got it out of the library, I had to go back and I didn't watch it. Godzilla vs. Kong, Kong vs. Godzilla, whichever way that goes. I'm not sure. I put it on for like 3 minutes. I'm like, no, I should have seen this in the theater. And I just decided against it. Then I fell asleep. And West Side Story had to go back too, which I took out, like some special edition or whatever. It was the same movie. It's just, I watched it a million times when I was a kid. And I'm sitting here last night watching it. I fell asleep like 9 o'clock, 9:30. This keeps happening. And I end up waking up like 2:30 in the morning. So 2:30 in the morning, I put on West Side Story. And I'm watching it. Of course, it's quiet and stuff. And I'm just like, my God, you know, I'm like re-falling in love with that movie in a way more than I did years ago, which I already loved it. And I'm just like, oh my God, why is it so beautiful? Why is everything so beautiful now? Some of the color and stuff like that looks a little bit off, but in terms of, I mean, everything, like the choreography and everything, and just, you know, watching these other movies and you see people doing all their behind the scenes stuff and talking about all their training and stuff to make a movie look great. Okay, fine, whatever. But, you know, I'm watching it. Of course, you know, Michael Jackson took Beat It, and especially, you know, and also Bad from different sections of that, the video concept. And we love those videos, but just rewatching this and seeing the segments, but the parts in the movie that he took from, especially the cool part, I always like that cool part. I always think, oh, this was my favorite part. I'm rewatching, I'm like, oh, this was my favorite part. This is the best part. Oh, no, this is the best part. For some reason, I really like that cool part after when they're in the... It's not a parking garage, is it? Kind of. It's like, it's some kind of garage. Which, like I said, Michael Jackson in the video for Bad, he kind of did his version of that, but the choreography is so amazing and good. And I didn't even realize, I knew that Natalie Wood's voice was dubbed, but I didn't know they were all dubbed. And it was like, they didn't suck or anything, I guess, but they just dubbed them. And I was just like, oh man. Could you imagine putting in all your heart and soul and then they dub you anyway? But I just was looking at the movie and I'm like, man, everything about it, I was like really like falling in love with that movie. And it's like, you know what I mean? These are things I already liked years ago. And sometimes I see them and it's just the difference between now and then. The quality of things between now and then, like now, you know, like I said, they could have it pristine looking with no smudges and the lighting be perfect and, you know, all the special effects and post-production they can do on movies now. And you may get a movie that looks very nice, but there's no heart and soul to it. The actors are half-assed, or they don't care, or the director just cast somebody they like instead of the perfect person for it. And it's just like, I'm sitting there thinking about Spielberg's version, and I'm like, why is he even doing it? You know, in the first place, because I don't think he's updating it. Like, suppose you were to update West Side Story. You would have to redo it and reimagine it. You couldn't do West Side Story and plant it in 2021 and have it make sense. Because the gangs and stuff now, it's not Puerto Ricans, you know what I mean? You'd have to have it be the kind of gangs they have now. You'd have to have it be rap music. You'd have to have it be, you know, you have to be really violent and awful. Not kids, you know, doing really pretty knife fights. So I don't even know what Spielberg's. I don't know if he's got it set now. He can't, because they look like they have olden time clothes on. So it must be a strict remake. But then, like I said, the question is why. He must be wanting to tell he must be going to finagle the message into something he wants to say. But I was just, anyway, the point is, I was just like looking at it going, movies used to be so perfect. And I'm thinking of the other musicals I love, like Guys and Dolls and stuff like that. It just made me want to smack everybody in Hollywood. There's so many, like every time something's there, and it was funny, who did I think of? I was like, oh, I was watching it, and I was thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, Why didn't, if Steven Spielberg had to make this, why didn't he cast Tom Holland as Riff? Because Tom Holland is the dancer with the gymnastics background. That's my problem. That's been my problem with musicals for the last 20 years. I hear they're making a musical, and then I start deciding who should be in it, and then they pick totally inappropriate people who can't sing or can't dance, or it's just passable, or there's somebody's daughter's nephews, whatever. You know, some minimally talented third generation Hollywood kid, and he's just like, ugh. I don't know that anybody in that movie is like that, but I don't know. I just like, I can't believe the degree to which I was falling in love with this movie that I already felt like I knew like the back of my hand. You know, it was just watching it in silence, have the way everything is now after everything we've been through, and I was just like, you know, and I've been watching movies, I've been catching up on movies that I didn't see that maybe came out last year, maybe didn't, now that they're on, you know, Blu-ray, DVD, or whatever. And just to go back and watch this old one that I've seen a million times and just be like, oh my god, and transported like back to the world I remember instead of this shitball one, you know. And I just was like, I ended up crying. I ended up calling Tony Jack Twist. Not crying because I'm really crying because just how far we've fallen. I can't stop saying it. I know it makes me Debbie Downer or whatever, but there's part of me, sometimes I think that the world can be good again, but then I'm like, from what? Not for me, maybe for other people, maybe for the 1%, maybe there's like some decent people in the 1% who are millionaires and billionaires and movie stars and stuff like that, and maybe when the rest of us plebes are dead, they can go on and, you know, start some new age that's nice and stuff like that. They just forget about us and pretend we never existed. But I don't see how regular people unless I'm crazy. But what it made me want to do is I was like, you know, I don't think West Side Story is high enough on my old list. This old list that I've had since forever. I'm going to put the link to my LJ on the list that I made in 2011, right, of my top 100, 200, whatever the hell it was, movies. I don't have the mind to do that anymore, but what I've decided, because I've been trying for years to update it and stick new movies in there somewhere, what I've decided, I opened up a new one and I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to refer to my old list. I don't want to cheat. Apart from my top 11, I'm just going to try to put movies now, just without thinking, without checking it, without looking back. I'll forget a lot, but I'll just try, and if I think of any new ones, I'll just put them and try to make a new top 100, 200, whatever. I'm not even going to leave it, and I will leave it up, and if 2 months from now, if I say, oh shit, I wanted to put this, I'll fix it. I'll just keep fixing it. Instead of, you know, being like, well, this is definitive. It's not going to be. It's going to be definitive when I post it. But 2 seconds later, if I remember something, I'll shove it in where it belongs. But yeah, I gotta redo it, because I'm like, there's movies that, you know, at a point in time in 2011, I loved them a lot, but maybe I loved them more now looking back, like West Side Story. I'm like, I gotta put that higher. I don't know where it was. Watch, it'll end up coming in lower somehow. But I'm not going to refer back to that. I mean, it was on my list. I don't exactly know where, but we'll see what I come up with. Because I can't pretend that my mind and my heart is the same place it was 10 years ago. So there could be happier movies lower, or sadder movies higher, or, you know, maybe some movies that I just thought were hip and cool at the time and I put too high. Maybe they won't even be there anymore, you know. When I was trying to be that, you know, film geek, movie buff, trying to run with people I could never run with because they have more resources. They had the ability they live in a city. They could see, you know, all the movies you could see in a city when you can't in a small town. And they had, you know, the ability to, you know, buy DVDs and have, you know, and now people who have all the streaming services, they, you know, who can afford it, they're going to see more stuff than me. So There was a point in time where I was trying to run with those kind of people, and I can't, and it's ridiculous. So out of the movies I've seen, if I don't have some, I don't know, French New Wave, or, well, that's a long time ago. But you know what I mean? If I don't have some, whatever the new hot thing is, this Korean movie or that Korean movie, whatever, I probably wouldn't like it. I probably haven't seen it. But I hated Parasite, if anybody worried about that. I thought it was trash. I think it's trash because it's overrated. If they hadn't talked it up so much, I probably would have thought it was okay. B minus C plus. Shouldn't have been anywhere near Best Picture, but that's not about what the Best Picture is anymore. Anyway, I ranted. But yeah, so there's my quick chat. I didn't end up watching Godzilla versus Donkey Kong, I almost said. It went back with West Side Story. I have a couple other things I'm going to rewatch, some stuff I never watched and everything, so. But I'm going to try to update that. I don't think it'll be interesting, but I'll put a link, and I don't even know why you can't link stuff sometimes, or if it doesn't want you to, I don't know. I'll put a link to my old list in this description. Okay. Anytime anybody has anything to say, just say it. I don't mind.